Hello, everybody. This is Paul with Torah Life Ministries, and we continue to read the scriptures every day. And we are up to a new book, Second Thessalonians. And before we read this book, on the introduction to it right now, I want to do a prayer here. The Shema found in Deuteronomy 6:4-9. Shema Yisrael, Yahweh Eloheinu, Yahweh Echad, Baruch Shem Kivo, Mahuto, Leolam Vaed. Hear, O Israel, Yahweh is our Elohim, Yahweh is one. And you shall love Yahweh with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your might. And have these words which I command you this day be upon your heart, and you shall teach them diligently to your children, and speak of them when you sit in your house, when you walk by the way, when you retire, and when you arise. And you shall bind them for a sign upon your hand, and let them be frontlets between your eyes. And you shall write them on the doorposts of your house and upon your gates. Hallelujah. So that was opening there. So we are up to Second Thessalonians, and we're going to look at the introduction right now. Now, the purpose of this book was to clear up the confusion about the second coming of Yahshua. The author was Paul, and the original audience was the Church of Thessalonica, written approximately AD 51 or 52, a few months after First Thessalonians, and it was written from Corinth. The setting. Many in the church were confused about the timing of Yeshua's return because of mounting persecution. They thought the day of Yahweh must be imminent, and they interpreted Paul's first letter to say what the second coming would be at any moment. In light of this misunderstanding, many people persisted in being idle and disorderly, with the excuse of waiting for Yeshua's return. So the key people in this are Paul, Silas, and Timothy, and it was in Thessalonica. And the special thing about this is it was a follow-up letter to First Thessalonians. In this letter, Paul indicates various events that must precede the second coming of Yeshua. So we're going to read this now, and it says, this is what they write in the New Testament translation and New Living Testament. But I thought, he said, I am sure he meant, it is clear to me that we should. I disagree. I think we must. Effective communication is difficult. Often the message sent is not the message received in the home, marketplace, neighborhood, or church. Even when clearly stated or written, words can be misinterpreted or misunderstood, especially when filtering through the sieve of preconceptions and prejudgments. Paul faced this problem with the Thessalonians. He had written them earlier to help them grow in the faith, comforting and encouraging them by affirming the reality of Yeshua's return. Just a few months later, however, word came from Thessalonica that some had misunderstood Paul's teaching about the second coming. His announcement that Yeshua could come at any moment had caused some to stop working and just wait, rationalizing their idleness by pointing to Paul's teaching. Adding fuel to the fire was the continued persecution of the church. Many felt that indeed this must be the day of Yahweh. Responding quickly, Paul sent a letter to this young church. In it, he gave further instruction concerning the second coming of the day of Yahweh. Second Thessalonians, therefore, continues the subject of First Thessalonians and is a call to continue courage and consistent conduct. This letter begins with Paul's trademark, a personal greeting and statement of thanksgiving for their faith. He mentions their perseverance in spite of their persecution and trials, and uses this situation to broach the subject of Yeshua's return. At the time, Yeshua will vindicate the righteous who endure and will punish the wicked. Paul then directly answers the misunderstanding concerning the timing of the events of the end times. He tells them not to listen to the rumors and reports that the day of Yahweh has already begun, because a number of events must occur before Yeshua's return. Meanwhile, they should stand firm for Yeshua's truth, receive Yahweh's encouragement and hope, pray for strength and for the spread of Yahweh's message, and warn those who are idle. Paul ends with personal greetings and benediction. Almost 2,000 years later, we stand much closer to the time of Yeshua's return, but we also would be wrong to see his imminent appearance as an excuse for idleness. Waiting for the heavenward gazing, being prepared for his coming, means spreading the gospel, reaching out to those in need, and building the church, his body. As you read 2 Thessalonians, then, see clearly the reality of his return and your responsibility to live for him until that day. So the blueprint for this book is the first part, the bright hope of Yeshua's return, and the second part, living in the light of Yeshua's return. So those are the two parts here. And the four themes of this book is persecution, Yeshua's return, the great rebellion, and the persistence. So these are the key points here that we're going to be discussing in 2 Thessalonians. So join me now as we read this new book of the Bible together, 2 Thessalonians. Thank you, everybody, and have a